There was once a young man named Daniel. He lived in a quiet town and dreamed of doing something meaningful with his life. He wasn't looking for fame. He wasn't chasing money. He simply wanted to become someone he could be proud of. Every day, Daniel worked hard. He learned new skills. He read books. He attended courses. He tried different opportunities. He believed that if he worked hard enough, success would eventually come. But life had other plans. His first project failed. Then another. And another. Each time, he told himself to keep going. But each failure hurt a little more. Months passed. Then years. While his friends moved forward, Daniel seemed stuck in the same place. Some bought houses. Some got promotions. Some started successful businesses. Daniel watched from the sidelines. No matter how hard he worked, nothing seemed to change. People started giving him advice. Some of it was kind. Some of it wasn't. Maybe you're wasting your time. Maybe this dream isn't for you. You should be realistic. Daniel smiled on the outside. But inside, those words stayed with him. Slowly, doubt began to grow. Every morning became harder. Every new attempt felt heavier. And every failure felt like proof that maybe everyone else was right. Still, he kept trying. Because giving up felt even worse. One cold evening, after another disappointing setback, Daniel returned home. He felt exhausted. Not physically. Emotionally. The kind of tiredness that comes from carrying disappointment for too long. He sat in silence. The room was dark. Rain tapped softly against the window. As he looked around, his eyes landed on something hanging on the wall. An old clock. It had belonged to his grandfather. The clock had stopped working years ago. Its hands were frozen in place. 6:17. Day after day. Year after year. The clock never moved. Daniel stared at it. Then he laughed bitterly. At least that clock and I have something in common. We both stopped moving forward. The next day, Daniel visited his grandfather. The old man lived in a small house on the edge of town. During their conversation, Daniel pointed toward the clock. "Grandpa, why do you still keep that broken clock?" His grandfather smiled. "Why do you ask?" "It doesn't work." "It hasn't worked for years." The old man looked thoughtful. Then he asked, "How many times does that clock show the correct time every day?" Daniel frowned. "What?" "The clock is broken. It never works." His grandfather smiled again. "Think carefully." Daniel looked confused for a moment. Then suddenly he understood. "Twice." "Exactly." The old man nodded. "A broken clock is right twice every day." Daniel stayed quiet. His grandfather continued. "Most people only see what the clock cannot do. They see what's broken. They see what's missing. But they never see what still works." The words hit Daniel harder than he expected. Because for years, he had been looking at himself the same way. He only saw his failures. He only saw his mistakes. He only saw the things that went wrong. He never looked at the things he had gained. The knowledge. The experience. The patience. The discipline. The resilience. Maybe he wasn't as broken as he thought. Maybe he was focusing on the wrong things. That night, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the clock. The more he thought about it, the more he realized something important. Every failure had taught him something. His failed business taught him how to manage money. His rejected applications taught him how to improve. His mistakes taught him what not to do. Nothing had been wasted. Every setback had left behind a lesson, and every lesson had made him stronger. For the first time in years, Daniel felt a small spark of hope. The next morning, he made a decision. He stopped asking, "Why am I failing?" and started asking, "What is this failure trying to teach me?" That single question changed his life. Suddenly, failures didn't feel like dead ends anymore. They became guides, teachers, stepping stones. When things went wrong, he learned. When plans failed, he adapted. When obstacles appeared, he looked for solutions. Slowly, his mindset changed. And when your mindset changes, your actions change too. Months passed. Then a year. Daniel continued working. But now he worked differently. He wasn't obsessed with immediate success. He focused on getting better every day. Small improvements, small wins, small lessons. And over time, those small things began to add up. His confidence returned. His skills improved. His opportunities increased. People started noticing him. Doors that once seemed locked began to open. Not because luck suddenly arrived, but because Daniel had become stronger than his challenges. One day, an opportunity appeared that perfectly matched everything he had learned over the years. Years earlier, he would have failed. But now he was ready. Ready because of every mistake. Ready because of every setback. Ready because of every lesson. He gave it everything he had. And this time, it worked. His project succeeded. People supported it. The business grew. And for the first time, Daniel experienced the success he had dreamed about for so long. Years later, people often asked him about his journey. What was the secret? What changed everything? They expected him to talk about strategy, or timing, or luck. Instead, he always smiled and told them about an old broken clock. People usually laughed, until they heard the lesson. Then they understood. Success didn't come when he stopped failing. Success came when he stopped seeing failure as the enemy. Because every failure carried a lesson. And every lesson carried the possibility of growth. Moral. Maybe you're looking at your life the same way Daniel looked at that clock. Maybe you're only seeing what's broken. The opportunities you missed. The mistakes you made. The goals you haven't reached yet. But what if you're ignoring everything you've learned along the way? What if your struggles are preparing you for something bigger? Remember this. A broken clock is right twice every day. And a person who keeps learning from failure is never truly failing. So don't focus only on what's broken. Focus on what it's teaching you. Because sometimes, the secret of success is hidden inside the very thing you thought had failed.